Okay, finishing off this primary ignition harness here for the alarm settings and all the brakes and tacks and parking lights and all that stuff. We're gonna get this thing all straightened out real quick. Got a fuse holder, so we're gonna tape that and insulate it to protect it. Take this second to do it right. Okay, now we got these here are the two relay inputs. One is for the black red is for the dome light input, and the white red is the input for the parking light output. Now in here we have our primary ground input for the alarm system. These here are those strippers that I was talking about earlier on. It's my tool of choice. It works so nice. Look at that. So you can go ahead and take a nice. So this here is my ground input on my alarm system, and these are the two inputs which need to be fed ground to the internal relays for the parking lights and the dome light. I also need to ground this relay for channel 2, which is going to do my trunk release. So I'm going to prep this relay up super quick. I'm going to wire it up to do a low ground from channel 2, a 250 milliamp transistorized input to click the relay to a solid ground. It's going to go to the switch in the vehicle. The middle pin 87A I do not need, so I'm just going to insulate that. So all you're left with is blue and black, which is the coil, green, which is the output to the trunk, and orange, which is going to need solid ground as well. So a little pre-planning, because I want, like I said, once you have all your prep work done, you want to have all your components pretty much laid up close as possible to this main module. So that's why I laid it up there like I did. That's the reason. Okay, so we're going to need ground for this relay, ground for this, ground for that, and I believe that should be all of them. Hopefully it is. I try to make it my prep work as neat as possible. I hate having to come back and redo stuff, because then it starts to look, a little ugly. I try it as much as I can to avoid that. So once I poke that hole, I kind of stick them right through the middle like a fishing line, and then I wrap them around like so. That's the way I make my connections. If you don't like it, tough. That's the way I was taught. That's the way I've always done it. I mean, I know that some people are probably going to watch this and say, oh, you should solder, you should do this. You can do whatever you want. I don't like solder. This is what I like, so this is what I do. So I got ground for all three of my relays, and once I start on a relay, I like to try to stick with it. So I'm going to blue is going to be my negative input, which I believe is red white. It's channel 2. Red white trunk release. Yep. Red white. Here, red, white. Okay. Okay, so that's my ground input. Black is going to need to see 12 volts. I usually strip back about an inch, inch and a half. It's not exact science, but something like that. And I got plenty of power to grab from, so I'm going to go right here. It's not even drawing that much, it's just using this to click the relay coil, so no big deal, no fusing or anything else needed. I just rely on the fuse that's already existing in on the wire already. I would only add extra fuses if I was drawing some serious current, then I would go about doing it that way, but for the most part you really won't have to ever do that. So there you have that. So channel 2 is done. My other relay is my starter disable / anti-grind relay. Orange, which is going to be the negative signal input, and I have my starter wires here. I'm going to twist those right up. There you go. And on these, you'll notice that you have this little loop. Red I would always put to the key side, and white would be the starter side. And this one here actually has a diode for that exact purpose, to eliminate feedback and buzzing and all that crap. But if you're going to ask me how to do it the right way, that's the way I always do it. Always. 30 I always put to the key side. And of course, very important, when you do your remote start and you put a starter kill relay in there, to always make sure your starter output wire is on the starter side, not the key side. Because when the car is armed, it'll be throwing power to the key side and never engage the starter. So I know it sounds silly, and you would never do such a silly thing, but you know what? It happens. So just think about that. We're just human. I'm just going to put these two relays together. And most likely somewhere in there, once this thing is all buttoned up, I'll just throw a P-tie on there and adhere it to here someplace. It's usually the way I do it. So we got all my grounds all done. Power's over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my violet white, which is my TAC input, which is going under the hood, my gray, which is my hood pin, which I'm going to install my Mercury switch, that's going to be under the hood, and my brown, which is my siren output. All three of these are going under the hood. So I'm going to pull all three of these guys out. You guessed it, I'm going to twist them all up. Beautiful. So we got a nice clean little twisted up harness, which is going out under the hood. And let's see what else we got left over here. Do we need any of this stuff? Let's see. Done. Pink. Pink is what? What the heck is pink? What the hell is this? Oh, that's for the other thing. See, it gets a little confusing sometimes, even for me. We got blue with a black stripe. Blue with a black stripe. That's to the horn. So put that guy over there. This orange goes to our starter kill relay. So I'll put these two guys together right now. Orange to orange. It's always that way. Now some alarm systems don't have automatically built-in anti-grind. Now what that means is that if the car is on the remote start, it would energize a ground signal to this relay, which would keep the starter circuit open, so that way you couldn't re-crank the starter while it's already existing and running. Since Excalibur alarms just automatically have that feature and are just cool like that, you don't have to really worry about it. However, if yours is not that way, you might want to have to tie in either like the status output or a negative ignition 3 or whatever into this orange wire to keep that circuit open, so that way you can have anti-grind in your vehicle, just like I will in mine. So we got two more left. We got black, which of course is our ground, and the brown with the red, which I believe... brown, red... brake input. Yep. So we are done. These three we're going to leave on the side. because I don't want to confuse that with my primary stuff right here. This one here is my output from my trunk release. I'm going to also keep this one loose. Definitely going to do that. So I'm just going to take a quick moment, separate all this stuff. Make sure you can see what I'm doing. All these loose wires, I'm just going to give them a once around this tape. Like that. Okay, so now we can route it all and neaten this thing up. While I'm at it, I'm going to twist these as well. Now when I do it, you're going to notice that I do it semi-separately. My door lock harness I'm going to keep in one area. My primary alarm harness I'm going to keep it a certain way. Over here, my auxiliary harness and my ignition harness is all going to kind of look like it's in one, but it's not going to be one at all, and I'll show you exactly why that is. There's a good reason, because when you get under the dash and some of these wires start to all look the same, it's very easy to get tripped up and make some stupid mistakes. I can tell you that from experience. I've done it so many times. So I'm going to take these, bunch them up together. Once I've done that, then I'm going to throw another P-tie on my two relays, one for my starter kill and one for my trunk release output, like that. And also, I think you can see it, let me just move this down, right over here where it kind of folds. I like to try to make a good practice of keeping pressure off of wires. I don't like to have any kind of pressure, because you don't know how this thing's exactly going to hang under the dash. So when it does, I want to make sure that things are kind of, you know, free floating and not taking any kind of stress or strain. Even like on here where I grabbed this 12 volts for this relay, where it's connected here, I'm going to put a wire tie right before it, just to make sure this will never have any stress on it. Same thing for my door lock, my two sensors. Just give them a little tug. Just give it a little tug. You don't have to get crazy and make it all messy, but have a little slack. Always have a little bit of slack. It's very good practice to get into. So if you ever have to get back underneath there and service it, you know, you don't want to have to pull your hair out trying to, you know, just do a simple, quick job. So with everything that's left, I'm going to kind of keep them semi-separate. At this point, I can keep my sensors separated. My ignition harness is going, of course, to the ignition. That's that. My starter kill, actually I should have done it this way. Put that right that. There you go. And right here. One more will do it. Then all that's left to do is just give it a little haircut. Try to get somewhat close because you don't like to get poked by this stuff. So there you go, man. That's pretty much it. Let me show you what this thing looks like. So my alarm is, I detached it with the screw from the table there, and this is my alarm. All up in here, I have all my holes are exposed and visible, so I can use these however I want to mount it, whether it be this way, that way, whatever way. My relays, believe it or not, it's another video in and of itself, but I was taught to keep them in this position because gravity is, you know, effective to a relay, and I like to keep them in this position. It's the way I was taught, and it's the way I always will do things. It's always served me well, so maybe in the future I'll talk about relays and gravity, you know, but for the time being, just make it a practice to leave it that way. You'll follow suit with all your relays, and you can see it gets real nice and neat. So when I got to do my installation, I got my shock sensor here, radar sensor here, starter kill here, starter output, accessory output, 2 ignitions, power right there, and my other harness. Here's my antenna, my door locks, and all this other crap, all twisted up nice. That's the way it has to be. That's the way I do my alarm prep, and that's the way I like to teach you guys to do your work. This is the right way to do it.